It is Thursday, June 1st of 2023, and you are watching Guys Daily Drive. Yes, you are. Bam! And welcome everyone to Guys Daily Drive. It is the first day of June. What happened to March, April, and May? You know, there's like this 3-month time span that I just kind of shake my head and go, what? Wait, but it was just, why isn't it still? And it just isn't. It just is not. So last weekend was Memorial Day, and so I had Monday off. Tracy, of course, is retired. Wish I was retired. And we wanted to do something fun. So we decided that we would go to the zoo, the DC Zoo, which neither of us had gone to since the kids were little. So it's been at least 20 years, maybe longer, since I'd been to the zoo. And figured we didn't want to drive, didn't want to deal with traffic and trying to find a parking space down in that area. And so we would do something else we haven't done in a really, really long time, and that's take the metro. So that's what we did. We took the metro to the Huntington station, which is the end of the yellow line. And hold on a second, I need to get past this car here. There we go. That's the end of the yellow line, and that made it so we would, I don't even know what I'm talking about. We would take the yellow line all the way into DC, then switch to the red line, which takes you to one of two stations that service the DC Zoo, Woodley Park and Cleveland Avenue, I think. And the Cleveland Avenue station is about a little more of a walk, maybe a block, than the Cleveland Avenue drop-off. And Tracy, of course, had researched and determined that it was a closer stop, so that's where we were going to go, even though it was going to cost us like 40-50 cents more to go to Cleveland Avenue than Woodley Park. And I was like, okay, I don't care one way or the other. The money was unimportant, and the length of the walk, at least at the time, was unimportant. So we switch over to the red line, and we take that to Cleveland Avenue, and we start to walk. It was probably 5 or 6 blocks to get to the zoo from the station. Maybe not that far, but it was a good walk. And what made it even more fun, there was like street construction going on, so there was all kinds of barriers and stuff along the way. And that was fun. But we got to the zoo, and we paid $5. Can't believe it, $5 for a map. They used to just give them away. And then we started walking around the zoo, and we saw the pandas, and we saw the big cats. And there are a couple things we didn't do. We'd actually gotten kind of a later start than I think we really wanted to. So we encountered a lot of lines outside of the lizard house and the Amazonian house, and all of the walkthrough exhibits, except for the orangutan house. That was no line there. So we went ahead and went in there, saw the orangutans, and generally had a really, really nice time. Then we ran into our first snafu, logistically speaking, and that was when we wanted to get lunch. There's like three main places to get something to eat at the DC Zoo, and then scattered around are ice cream and coffee and even cocktails. If you want to drink cocktails while you're walking around the DC Zoo, you can do that. I don't get it, but sure. And we decided where we were close enough to this one place, and it was basically burgers, fries, chicken tenders. I don't remember what the cute name for it was. And of course, because it was lunchtime, there was a big long line. And we went ahead and we ordered. And the way it works is you order, and then you stand amongst this big group of people, and you wait for your order to come up. And it took, and this is not an exaggeration, it took 40 minutes for 2 double burgers and fries to come up. Couldn't believe it. And I was getting more and more irritated as it was going on. It was like, it's lunchtime. Don't you think you should have enough food pre-made? Because I mean, we're not talking about gourmet food here. These are, pre-packaged or pre-made burgers that they're throwing on a grill. So if you know there's going to be a big number of people that are going to be coming, then pre-make that stuff so that you can get people out the door faster. But who knows? Maybe they're having the same shortage of workers that so many other people are having these days. Could be. But it was irritating that, to stand there for 40 minutes waiting for food. At some point, I just told Tracy to go sit down and reserve us a table. So at least we had a place inside to eat, because it did rain a little bit, but not too bad. It wasn't that bad. And then after lunch, we kept walking around, and it had been probably since before my surgery that I had done any significant walking. Because once I started having problems with the eye, it just, we didn't really know what was going to happen, where we were going to go, what was going to, things were just kind of up in the air. And even the New York trip, which we actually did a lot of walking on, didn't affect me the same way that walking this, I guess it was like 5 or 6 miles by the end of the day, going to the DC Zoo did, because my calves just were like pounding at me. It really, really hurt. And the other thing that happened that kind of it was a surprise. It was a new surprise, like so many other things for me these days. Anxiety. I was very, very anxious over crowds because so I can't see on the right side. So when there are people over there, I can hear them speaking, but I'm not quite sure where they are. And so I end up moving my head around a lot just to try to keep track of everyone that's near me. And it's exhausting, because it's, there's anxiety in itself can take a lot of energy away from you. And that's kind of what was going on with me. And I didn't anticipate it. And I'm not sure if this is something that I'm going to get used to. Obviously I'm going to have to get used to it if it continues. But it just kind of startled me when I realized what was going on. And that's the worst thing about some kinds of anxiety. You can, normally with me, it's like, oh, I'm anxious because of this, so I'll just change whatever it is that I'm doing to try to lessen the effect. And that really wasn't working. There was nothing I could do to make things better. So I just kept kind of scanning around as best as I could to try to alleviate the anxiety of having people close to me where I wasn't sure where they were. And it wasn't so much because I don't want people close to me. It's that I don't want to bump into people. I'm a very big person, and when I'm just walking, well, that's 265, 270 pounds of person walking at a decent enough clip, and you could knock people over. You could knock kids over. So that's basically what I was feeling anxious about. And it's, it's just one other thing I got to deal with. But we got through it. We walked, and the other thing I got to get used to is keeping Tracy on my left side, because she starts talking to me, and I start whipping my head around because if she's on my right, because I don't know where she is. So there was constantly like, oh crap, and then we would just switch positions so that she'd be on the other side of me. Oh, so weird. Spoke to the eye guy, the guy that's going to make the prosthetic yesterday, and I've got an appointment to see him on June 20th, and that will start the process of making the prosthetic for my right eye. And I have no idea what that process is going to be like. This is all brand new. So, but I'm nervous, but at the same time I'm kind of looking forward to it, because anything that's going to put me more on the side of normal is a good thing. One other thing I noticed, especially in a big crowd, was people staring at me because of the patch on my eye. Especially kids. And I can understand it with kids, because they're curious, and when they see something that's unusual, they stare. Could have done a little less of it. Could have done with a little less of it from the adults. But again, people aren't used to seeing something that's unusual. And when I think about it, and I ask myself, when I have seen people with eye patches, or something unusual about their person, did I also momentarily stare? And if I'm going to be honest with myself, then yeah, I did. So I wasn't angry about it, but it was a little irritating. And that's something else that I'm going to have to learn to deal with. And just, one other thing to put on the bucket list of what is Guy's new normal. Anyway, I think that's going to about do it for today. Thank you all so very, very much for joining me here today on Guy's Daily Drive. I really, really do appreciate the fact that you take the time to come and watch or listen to my little ramblings as I'm driving to work on a few mornings of the week. It really is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for doing so. If you would like to help support the channel, as Owen Rubin did recently, thank you, Owen. You can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can go to my coffee page, ko-fi.com, and buy me a coffee. You can also go to my PayPal page. You can pay me through PayPal. So pay a pal through PayPal. paypal.me/MacParrot. And if you want to get a hold of me, I recently got a very, very kind letter from, I don't want to say her last name, Karen. Karen, if you watch or listen to this, thank you. That was very, very nice of you to say. You can do so by sending me an email to guy@mymac.com or podcast@vertshark.com. I've got a bunch of stuff up at vertshark.com. I'm pretty much just putting the videos from Guy's Daily Drive and the My Mac podcast up on VertShark, at least for right now, because if you want the audio version, then just look up Guys Daily Drive, and various podcast aggregators out there carry the show, and you can subscribe to it that way. I really do appreciate it when you do so. You can go to vertshark.com, leave me a message there. You can go to Podbean, look up the show on Podbean, that's my provider, and make comments and leave messages there. And I guess that's about it. So again, thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you have taken the time to do this. And I will see all of you next time right here on Guys Daily Drive. Bye-bye.